You know what's the worst part about being a YouTuber, apart from lots of questions from confused aunts and uncles? The fact I can't just unbox something like a Nintendo Switch 2 on my own pace and be excited about it. No, I have to set everything up to do an unboxing of it instead. So anyway, here it is. I know it's very late, but whatever. Let's get into what they have prepared for us, and I think I'm opening this upside down. That's a great way to start this. As I was saying, let's see exactly what Nintendo have prepared for us. We have right off the bat our two Joy-Cons individually wrapped here, and I gotta say that they do look pretty nice, even though there are no options when it comes to colors, kind of like before. Oh wow, now I actually feel them. It's not just that they are bigger, because they are slightly bigger, the texturing on them is just so different to how it was on the Switch 1. So for comparison, here's the left Joy-Con on a Switch 1 versus on a Switch 2. As you can see, it is not only larger, but again, it's just the kind of texturing of the plastic on top. Not to mention the fact that the side buttons right here are much bigger on the Switch 2. I know it's something that a lot of people complain about, but for my tiny hands, the Joy-Con was perfectly okay before, so that's not something I had any issues with. Anyway, now onto the main attraction, that being the main Switch unit. Again, it's obviously way bigger than its Switch 1 counterpart, but the thing that's making the biggest difference here is just the bezel size. I have no idea how, even in 2017, Nintendo thought that was acceptable levels of bezelness, but now, as you can see, you have a very nice, refined, sleek design. Not to mention the fact that the kickstand is a lot more sturdy now. The previous one was so flimsy that even with my complete lack of muscle, I thought I could pull it out at any second. Another big selling point is, of course, the fact that the Joy-Cons are now magnetic, so all you have to do is just do it like this and boom, they are on. Because even on my original Switch, if I just put the controllers back, this is an original revision, like a pre-order, and as you can see, the left Joy-Con is just detaching without me even having to press the little button at the back. So this is something that this really is hopefully able to solve. Not only that, but also just the motion itself is a lot smaller, right? Because instead of having to be all prima donna-like and do a huge whapa movement to get it out, this is a lot more, you know, space efficient in terms of the amount of moving you have to do with your hand to get these off. But we're not done yet, because there's still a lot of stuff to go through here, starting off with the Joy-Con grip. It appears to be the exact same thing as before, apart from just the fact that you just attach them magnetically now, and just like that. Again, this was always more than enough for me if I wanted a more traditional controller. I've literally never, ever seen the point of getting a Pro controller for one of this. In fact, ages ago, back when this channel's videos were even worse somehow, I did a short video basically poking fun of that, saying that if you want a Pro controller, just use the grip. And it was like my very first viral, but also mega disliked video. Well, I say viral, for the standards of my channel in 2017 it was. And of course, something that is extremely important if, like me, you'll be mostly using this thing for home console gaming, the Switch 2 dock. I love the way this looks, by the way. This nice curved design. Again, the original one felt so flimsy, and it felt like it cost 10 cents on AliExpress. This has some weight to it at least. And not only that, but of course it has active cooling to make the whole console run a bit better when it is plugged in. Not to mention the fact that you do have Ethernet built in, so you don't have to have the special OLED model anymore. That is also awesome to see. Then you have your actual charger. It is a 60-watt one plus USB Type-C cable. Nothing much to really talk about there. I don't know what you want me to comment about when it comes to a Type-C cable. Oh yeah, there's a whole other layer of stuff here, including an HDMI cable, but you can never have enough of those, and also your little straps for the Joy-Cons themselves, because, well, they don't want more TV smashed with remotes like back in the Wii days. But let's be honest, no one's going to be using these anyway, because safety is for losers. Okay, so it's basically just guiding you through how exactly the console itself works. And okay, it's actually not allowing me to continue through until I showed that I know how to detach the Joy-Cons, so it's actually making you do the tutorial. Also, already, just out of muscle memory, I went to slide the Joy-Con out instead of just detaching it. While it's updating, in terms of just pure comfort, I think it's still okay. However, especially when it comes to kind of the where your palms are, it still feels a bit awkward and a bit uncomfortable. Yeah, the material itself is better, it doesn't dig into your hand as much, but it's just still not as nice as it could be. But the reason I think that is really jumping out at me like that is because the most comfortable Nintendo handheld thing has already been made with the Wii U. The Wii U gamepad is infinitely more comfortable than either the Switch 1 or the Switch 2. Don't add me. So much attention has been put to making it sit comfortably in your hands just like this, not to mention the fact that the Wii U gamepad still has something that neither of those consoles have, a built-in stylus. One more thing I wanted to check is exactly how much they differ in weight. So the Switch 1 comes in at around 400 grams, and then the Switch 2, which already feels much heavier to hold, comes in at 533. Listening to all of these little ditties being played right here, the audio, the actual speakers are so much better than on this. In fact, go away, Switch 1, I don't need you anymore. I actually feel kind of bad for saying that now. I still love you, but I haven't actually used it in probably around 2 years. The interface itself is pretty much identical. The first thing I want to see is if they finally added some kind of themes. No, they have not. Still just basic black or basic white. I assume just by the fact that they are called Basic White and Basic Black, that they had intended to have some additional ones come out for the Switch 1, but they just never got around to do it, just kind of forgetting to do it on one of the best-selling consoles of all time. And right now, well, maybe just a bit too early in the Switch 2's life. Okay, this caught me off guard. Look how you open the cartridge slot now. It's this little thing that wiggles back and forward, and you just put the card inside, just like that, and boom, you're ready to go. Now, before we actually plug this thing into a TV and play like a sensible person on a larger display, I guess we have to see how much better the screen itself is. Now, there have been quite a lot of improvements. It is not an OLED, sadly, but they'll probably make an OLED variant at some point. Not only is the resolution higher, the colors are much more vibrant. Of course, it does support HDR, but from what I've read, it's kind of meh. But again, I don't care because I'll be never using the built-in screen anyway, so I guess I probably shouldn't be complaining. Okay, yeah, this is so much more playable. This is just the base Breath of the Wild. This isn't the upgrade pack. That's another thing I want to see in a second, how easy it is to actually upgrade. But if we just look at that sunset over there, that is night and day better than what you had on the original Switch. That's just the display itself. The biggest upgrades to games like that will come from the upgraded Switch 2 version, which you have to pay extra for, which because Nintendo, they're going to just nickel and dime you any way they can, and you're still gonna buy it all. And one thing I really hate about this whole launch is how all over the place it has been. Some games are getting paid upgrades, some are getting free upgrades. Some of them are pretty much remasters, some aren't. It is really confusing, and I hate the way they've done it, but oh well. Oh right, and they have that welcome tour, which costs a whopping £8, which should have just been an included demo. What a joke that is. But anyway, I want to know how exactly, oh there it is, Breath of the Wild upgrade pack. That's going to cost you £8 or however much that's going to be in your region. I have no idea how much it's going to cost in USD, but yeah, proceed to purchase. And let's do this. Now this is weird. When I'm trying to record this thing, it's only outputting as 480p for some reason. Even though I'm using the included cable, that's weird. Still, even with that, you can clearly tell this is far superior from the base Switch 1 version, because yeah, we are playing on an enhanced version now. The trees are just infinitely more tree-like than in the original. Okay, apart from that weirdness, I don't think I have to explain to you that the Switch 2 is in fact a lot faster than the Switch 1, given how we're going from a Maxwell to an Ampere-based GPU with a whopping 6 times more CUDA cores. Not to mention huge improvements in pretty much every single aspect of the hardware and the software. And also I did actually get Cyberpunk, so we can see how well it actually runs and what exactly the downsides are. And of course, we're also comparing Breath of the Wild and seeing how that goes, so definitely subscribe so you don't miss that. Even though I'd literally never recommend anyone to play Cyberpunk of all things on this tiny thing. Like, do yourself a favor and play on something normal like a PC or a console if you have to. Just don't waste your first time playing this game on this thing. I'm sorry, you just can't do that to yourself. And if you want to get it yourself, the Amazon links will be down in the video description below, where you're also going to find a Patreon, because even a single $1 month truly goes a long way. Plus huge thanks to Gavin Burns, Justin Rage, Avrona, Polish Voka, Patrick Harrison, not a pseudonym, makes some machine Ulcraft. But anyway, that's all it's. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then remember to subscribe, like whatever, and I'll see you all in whatever I make next. Goodbye everyone. Goodbye.